couple of days ago, Mom and I were in another city and we paid a visit to the ReStore in that city. Haven't been to the ReStore in quite a while, and I was not disappointed. I left with quite a few neat finds, which I will show you in today's video. And everything I got that I'm showing you in this video today, I got for $5. As it turned out, we hit half off day, which was friggin' great. So Mom and I took the opportunity and found a lot of cool stuff. So what did I find? Well, I'll start over here. This is a vintage, I believe it's vintage, 25 watt red light bulb, General Electric. And what's notable about this is that it is a ceramic color coated light bulb. Modern colored light bulbs just have sort of a lacquer on them and they're partially translucent. But back in the old days they use, I guess, some sort of ceramic based paint. And you get a much more vibrant color out of it. It was more expensive to do, and the ceramic coating results in some light loss, but the color's a lot better. So yeah, I got this. I don't know what they charged for it, because at the ReStore they just have a bin of loose light bulbs, mostly CFLs. Honorable mentions, there was a 175 watt mercury vapor lamp. I already have one of those. There was also a high pressure sodium lamp. Not really interested in one of those. But mostly CFLs and a few other just ho-hum modern incandescent lamps. So I reckon they probably charged 25 or 50 cents for this. But I have a socket here precariously wired up, and I'll screw the bulb in here and show you, which is evidently going to be a two-handed job. And there's a switch on the cord here. Hit the switch. Very nice. I think it's coming out more pinkish on the video. It is not pink at all in real life. It is a very, very vibrant red. And get a better look at the etch there. Etch is quite worn rather. And there's no date code. There doesn't appear to be any date code on the etch. All it says is 115 to 125 volts. And this heats up quite quickly because the ceramic coating converts a lot of the light into heat. There's one, see if I can get a focus. There's one tiny speck of missing color there where the white light shines through. But yeah, nice colored bulb. So that was that was one of two lighting things that I got. And for comparison, this is a modern red incandescent bulb. You can see it's slightly translucent. Get the flashlight on here. You can see the inside of it. And it's just a clear translucent lacquer. I'll put this in, turn on. This is a 40 watt. I've had this for 15 years at least. Bought it at the dollar store when I was a kid. And I'll turn it on here. And it is not nearly as vibrant. The color is way more pale, and in real life there actually is a little bit of pinkiness to this one. So nowhere near as vibrant or eye-catching as the ceramic coated lamp. There's a comparison anyhow. So the other lighting thing I got was this. This is a General Electric PL fluorescent lamp adapter for a 7 watt or 9 watt PL lamp. You know, the U-shaped fluorescent lamps. So yeah, this is great. I already have two others of these. One is for a 13 watt lamp and the other is for a 5 watt lamp. This is for a 7 and 9 watt lamp. So now I own adapters for the entire gamut from 5 to 13 watts. The 5 watt adapter I have, it'll also work fine for 5 and 9 watt lamps. It's just not officially rated for them. This is. It's got this weird spring-loaded pin. I guess that was just their way of making sure that there was good contact with the lamp socket. And the label's in pretty poor shape, but it says, turn the light on here. It says for replacement lamps, 7 watt, it specifies an SPX 27, that's a warm white lamp. And the same for the 9 watt. General Electric. Assembled in Mexico. And this part of the label is not legible anymore, but I believe it says, you know, if you use it with a 5-watt lamp, you should be ashamed of yourself, because there's a risk of fire. And it probably says 120 volt 60 hertz single phase. And that might be a date code, March of '86. That would seem about right for something like this. And kind of interesting, normally magnetic, this is obviously a magnetic preheat ballast. Normally adapters like this, the ballasts are potted in sort of a tar or epoxy. But with this, you can clearly see the ballast windings in there. The ballast in this is not encased in any sort of potting material. The windings are just totally exposed, so that's kind of an interesting design. And you can see, of course, it's a toroidal ballast that goes around the wall of the inside of the case. So yeah, kind of interesting construction there, not what you usually see to my knowledge. I have a lamp I can test it with. I didn't get this lamp with it, I already own this. This is a modern 7-watt warm white GE lamp. I don't like warm white, but I have it. It's my only 7-watt lamp. I don't have any 9-watt lamps. Actually, I do have a 9-watt lamp. I think it's in a fish tank light, but that would probably fit this. Turn on here. Yeah, it works just fine. Very, very cool. Very, very slight buzzing to the ballast. But yeah, it works well. Yeah. So that was a nice find. Nice to have another one of these. I may stick this in the porch light outside the front door of the house. Because sadly, you know, what sucks about these fluorescent lamp adapters, modern light fixtures, these won't fit in. Like my ceiling light, for example, this obviously isn't going to fit in that. Pretty much the only thing these will fit in anymore are just bare sockets like we have in the basement of this house. But the outside light, outside the front door, is a light that attaches to the wall and it hangs down, and it's got quite a big globe on it that I think also extends quite far. So the globe might be long enough where this can fit in it and it's not looking awkward with the bottom of the lamp sticking out from the bottom of the fixture. But I'll have to see. But yeah, that might be a potential use for this thing. If not, I'll just stick it in the basement and it can get some use in there. Up next, this is a Northern Telecom Solo POTS phone. I have really no use for a POTS phone, but it's Northern Telecom and it's vintage, and I really have a soft spot for vintage Northern Telecom stuff, so I bought it. It's in great shape, as you can see. It's a little bit yellowed on some parts, but not too bad. The programming list here is unadulterated, so that's nice. And yeah, it's just a nice, simple, trimline phone. I think this is from 1991, based on what I can see on it. Yeah, a nice, semi-modern, trimline phone, very sleek. Not too, you know, it doesn't try to be flashy. It's just, here's a phone. We made it slightly angular to make it 90s-ish, and it works. And that's pretty much what Northern Telecom was all about. So yeah, really nice phone, and I like the styling of it. It's got 3 hot memory keys here, and then 10 more memories addressable from the keypad. No display, no nothing. It's a very simple phone. It doesn't need external power. It's powered directly from the telephone system. It's got an electronic ringer. Sounds just like a generic 90s electronic phone ringer. And Northern Telecom. And that says RD 1986. Not sure what that means. Maybe that's when they designed the phone. And then here it says Northern Telecom made in Canada, which is very cool. 9106, that's why I think it's made in 1991. Quality by design. And that's the jack to connect to the outside line. Let's get a volume switch on it. I tested this we still have a landline phone. We still have landline phone service here, so I was able to test this. It sounds just fine. Sounds great. Adjustable volume ringer, 3 different settings and off, which is nice. Now, while I don't really have a use for this right now, we already have, you know, all the phones we want hooked up here, and Mom obviously doesn't want any of her modern cordless phones replaced with this thing, which she doesn't know why I bought. But what I'm thinking is there is a way to hook this up to my ReStore system. My ReStore system's in my storage unit right now, but I am planning on grabbing it as well as many other things from the storage unit very soon, and I want to make more videos of my ReStore system. I never finished the series on that, and I want to do that at some point. So hopefully I can grab the ReStore system soon and start playing with that again. Now, while this by itself cannot be hooked up to a ReStore system, you can only hook up ReStore phones to a ReStore system. Northern Telecom did make an accessory for the ReStore called an analog terminal adapter, or ATA. And a ReStore ATA is used to connect an ordinary POTS phone to a ReStore system. And when you hook up a POTS thrown through an ATA to a ReStore system, it functions mostly like a ReStore phone. It otherwise works the same as a ReStore phone. The only difference is, for example, of course, there's no feature key, so in order to enter features, you have to pick up the phone and then press like star and then some other codes. And the ReStore system, and the ATA interprets that as a ReStore feature code. So yeah, it'd be kind of cool, and it's a cool way to make use of vintage POTS phones. Get a ReStore system and an ATA, and you can play with them that way. Kind of a neat feature. I had to look up what this long rectangular button is right here. It is a release button. So it's kind of neat that Northern Telecom put a release button on there. That's usually something that's only on the business phones. So very nice. So yeah, that is that. And then next, for $1, or actually 50 cents, because it was half off day, I got this Lloyd's microphone. I would say 60s or 70s vintage. It's got a 3.5mm jack on it. I don't know what type of microphone it is. It doesn't say if it's a dynamic microphone or a condenser microphone, no clue. But I bought it, and it actually sounds quite decent. I've tested it on the Sony Tapecorder TC110A cassette recorder, and yeah, it sounds pretty good, and it sounds a lot better than the malfunctioning built-in microphone on that cassette recorder. I'll actually grab the cassette recorder. I have it right down here. And I've done some talking to people about the microphone issues, and the consensus is it's probably the microphone itself that has gone bad. Apparently, condenser microphones themselves do have a little bit of circuitry in them, and that can go bad, and then the microphone just doesn't sound very good anymore. I could probably replace the internal microphone, but the problem is it involves disassembling the unit further than I've figured out how. And I don't want to risk breaking something by taking it apart. I have the service manual, and the service manual describes how to completely disassemble it, but when it gets to the part where you're supposed to take off the top half of the case, they make it completely unclear on what you're supposed to do. They list some screws you take out. I took out the screws. Top half of the cover was still very firmly attached, so I'm not sure what's going on there. So I figured just leave it. Although I do like built-in microphones on stuff, it's not a massive loss. The TC100, the cassette recorder that preceded this, didn't even have a built-in microphone, so I'm not losing massive functionality there, since built-in microphone was sort of a extra anyway. But I figure I will demonstrate this microphone on this cassette recorder. I'll do a test recording, and I'll do a test recording after that with the built-in microphone, and you can hear what it sounds like. This is a test of the Lloyd's microphone on the Sony TC110A cassette recorder. And this is a test of the built-in microphone on the Sony TC110A cassette recorder. Well, as you can hear, this thing sounds pretty darn good. I think it sounds very good. Compared to the built-in microphone on this thing, I think the built-in microphone might have slightly better fidelity, particularly in the high frequencies. But as you could hear, now when I recorded the segment with the built-in microphone actually didn't act up that time. So you guys were able to hear for the first time what this sounds like when the built-in microphone's behaving properly. But you might have been able to hear during the section recorded with the built-in microphone, the volume started gradually getting louder. And that's what it did. And what'll eventually happen is it'll get super loud, and that's what causes that ringing noise when I speak into the built-in microphone. It just gets louder and louder, and eventually there's just this really harsh distortion. You may have also been able to hear quite a bit of sibilance with the built-in microphone, and this is an AC bias recorder, so you shouldn't get that much sibilance as you heard through the built-in microphone. I think that's another symptom of just something wrong with the built-in microphone on this thing. And I wasn't speaking out close to it. Like the Lloyd's microphone, I was holding, you know, fairly close to my mouth, but with the built-in microphone, I was just sitting here. I was back here speaking to the built-in microphone, and you got all that sibilance on the S sounds. So yeah, I would say that's probably another symptom of the microphone in this thing not being in very good health. But yeah, this microphone works pretty well. Again, my guess is 60s or 70s vintage, because I did some looking on Google Images, and I think I found one picture of this microphone, and it was with a cassette recorder about as old, if not slightly older than this. I would guess this was sold with a cassette recorder, or it could have been a reel-to-reel tape recorder. But yeah, that's my guess on the age of this thing. It was made in Japan. It's got Japan printed on the tail cap there. It doesn't pull apart, or I'd show you. It's a single piece unit. This silver piece I don't think pulls apart. It's just all one piece. But yeah, it sounds pretty good, and I'm pretty happy. This is my first microphone. I've never owned a proper microphone. I've owned a couple of dollar store computer microphones that were simply awful. But that's it. And all I've ever used for a microphone for years is my Olympus LS7. I've just improv'd this thing as a microphone. This does a good job of that, but it's a bit more complicated to set up. With this thing, you just plug into the microphone port and you're good to go. So yeah, this is really nice, and I can think of a few uses for this. I could plug this into a Handycam, one of my camcorders that has a microphone port, so when I do my occasional selfie update videos, and I think another one of those is probably coming in the near future. Actually, I know another one of those is coming in the near future because I have a big announcement to make about something personal. I could use one of these, although to be fair, I don't have a need for it anymore. Back when I lived in that blasted apartment that I'm so glad I'm out of now, whenever I made a video, I used the Olympus as a microphone so I couldn't speak, so I didn't have to speak too loudly and potentially have anybody living above me hearing me, but that's not a problem anymore. But may use it anyway just for fun, have this microphone hooked up to a Handycam and use that in one of those videos. So yeah, really cool fun. I was happy with that. Next, I got this cassette drawer, which I'm really happy with. This was a great find because I've been wanting one of these for a while. A music store opened up here in town a couple of months ago, and the place is fantastic, and they have a big bin of random recordable cassettes, just old used cassettes that people have brought into them, donated, sold, whatever. And they sell them for like 50 cents a tape, and I've gotten a ton of them, and I'm gonna have to make a video someday of what is now very much a cassette collection of mine. But I've been wanting one of these because I've so many cassettes now, and they had like half a dozen of these at the ReStore, $2 each. I almost wonder if I should have got more than one, but one has definitely been a big help. And this is just fantastic. Really nice. It's made of wood. Like it's actually made of wood. It's not just wood veneer on top of plastic. Oh, and I can see that joint's a little bit loose, but I won't worry about it. But yeah, really, really nice find. Very happy with this. And then finally, I can't show you because I've thrown it away. It turned out to be a purchase that was in need of repair, and it was so far gone actually that it wasn't worth repairing. I threw it away. I bought a Caframo Chinook fan. Caframo is an American company that makes a number of different portable fans, marine fans, and they make 120 volt powered fan called the Chinook, and it's really cool because it's not a fan that has encased where the fan blades are encased in a grill. It's out in the open. The fan blades are out in the open, and it's because the blades are made of very soft plastic, and so it's safe to stick your finger in there. You won't get hurt. And I've always wanted one, and I found one at the ReStore, an older model, and unfortunately the motor was absolutely completely shot, not repairable, at least not easily repairable. The bearings were so worn out that it actually wouldn't spin, not because of lack of lubrication. The bearings were so worn out that there was so much sideways play in the shaft that the rotor would make contact with the core of the motor. When you turned on the motor, the magnetism from being energized would pull the rotor down, and the edge of the rotor would just scrape against the core, and there was too much friction and it wouldn't even spin. So I took the motor apart. I thought, obviously at first I thought maybe it just needed lubrication. No, it just couldn't be fixed. The bearings were completely shot, and the rotor was actually all chewed up from having been scraped against the core. The laminations were peeling off it and everything. The motor was completely done. I did a lot of research online to see if I could buy a new motor to replace it. It's a standard C-frame shaded pull motor. But the problem is, you can buy a brand new Chinook fan for like $30, and I would be paying almost that for just a motor. So it wasn't worth saving. I cut the cord off it, saved the cord, I threw the fan away. It's too bad it was otherwise in okay shape. It was a bit dirty and scratched up, but it was okay otherwise. But yeah, it was just too far gone. So paid $1.50 for it. Turned out to be a loss. That's alright. It gave me an evening of interest tearing it apart and seeing what could be done. A little disappointed. Like I said, I've wanted a Chinook fan for a long time, but oh well, someday I might buy a brand new one just for kicks. But anyway, there is the finds I got at the ReStore a couple days ago. Very cool. Had a great trip. This is more than I usually find when I'm at the ReStore. Back in the good old days, one of my favorite things to do at the ReStore was go through all the fluorescent lamps and buy some vintage fluorescent lamps. But they don't sell them anymore. My guess is they just, because nobody was buying them, because everybody's going with LEDs now, whatever fluorescent lamps they get, they probably just toss them, which is way too bad. Like I said, they have a bin full of loose CFLs and stuff, but no fluorescent lamps, which is too bad. So yeah, I haven't had a good ReStore haul in a while, but this was definitely a good one. So there you go. There's my finds. Pretty happy with them. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you later.